Hey, I'm Rhonda, that's Angie, and we are Adventures into Madness. We made it from Whittier to Valdez. Ooh, this is comfy. We're on the Alaska ferry, the Aurora ship, and headed to Valdez. So getting on the ferry was pretty easy, even though one guy was telling me to stop, the other guy was telling me to keep going. Hey, some cool information I just learned by reading one of the plaques on the wall. So we're on the Aurora, that's part of the Alaska Marine Highway, and we're crossing Prince William Sound. And as most of you know, in 1989 there was a devastating oil spill here when the Exxon Valdez spilled a god amount of oil here, and was just devastating for the environment, for fishing, and for the wildlife here. But this ship was instrumental in helping clean it up. So apparently the Aurora collected 70% of the collected oil. Now, a lot of the oil wasn't ever recovered, but 70% from the ship is pretty high number, and they were at one point collecting 25 to 35,000 gallons a day. So it was pretty arduous. They were working from 6 in the morning till 11 at night, continuously trying to do as much as they possibly could. So yay, the Aurora. The ferry ride was awesome, except for a couple things. One, there wasn't any food on board until really late, so that was a bit difficult because we didn't know that in advance, and that was true for a lot of people. We exited the ferry, which is a little bit hair-raising for those of you that have pulled RVs on ferries. We're used to the San Juans. You drive on, you drive off most of the time. Sometimes you have to back off. In this case, you actually have to make a 90-degree angle to get off. So you pull out and turn, and it's really tight. And the way they did it for us is they moved one aisle beside us on one side, and then we had a vehicle on this side of us. So we were really pretty...
And it was only a couple inches away.
We were really concerned about turning and cutting into that vehicle. So we have learned that although you want to follow all of the instructions of the ferry workers, which we do, you also have to be your own person when it comes to driving your vehicle. Because we got driven right into a wall with our old RV, and because we were doing what they said and not checking ourselves. So if you ever feel uncomfortable, stop. And we just kind of did that. The ferry driver wasn't too happy with the way we were driving, but we didn't care. We were going to do what we were going to do and get off
while
in
still
one
following
piece.
his directions.
And get off in one piece. So they're all in a big hurry. And one thing you learn as an RVer is never be in a hurry.
Definitely take your own food on the ferry. The website and pretty much every information said there was food available. Mm-hmm. But when you get on, it only, the ferry leaves at 2:45, but you board. You have to check in by 1 o'clock, and a lot of people didn't have lunch because they figured they'd be able to get at least a snack on board and then a meal at some point. And so a lot of people didn't eat lunch. And you get on the ferry, and then it says on the ferry, nowhere else, that food is only available between 6 and 7. And, you know, that's kind of a long day without food. And then there was a little tease of a vending machine on board. Food. But the coin machine part of it was not working. So you know, if you didn't have $1 bills, you were not going to get any snacks out of there also.
Be aware, if you're going on with your RV, take everything you're going to need. You can't go back down. For us, we decided to put our dogs inside the RV and not leave them in the truck. You can't take them upstairs. Today, we're just going to see how the day goes and explore Valdez.
Hey, we're at Valdez Glacier Lake. Isn't this awesome? So you can actually kayak or put a paddle boat or something on this lake and go check out the glacier. So it's pretty much the only way to really see the glacier. There's a higher glacier up there. This is just one little part. This is actually a really huge lake. Hey, we're on the Dock Point Trail right next to the small boat harbor in Valdez. And super easy little trail, but really cool little trail too because it packs a punch. Lots of wildlife and birding out here on the water over there, and it's about a mile loop. Hey, we're in Valdez. Well, this really doesn't look like Valdez. It looks like a dirt road. But this is Old Valdez. In that 1964 earthquake, the largest ever in North America, this is where the town was at, and 31 people died, so it devastated this area. Eventually, the Army Corps of Engineers basically just said, no, this town is uninhabitable. They condemned it, and everybody had 2 years to actually move. And they moved to the new site of Valdez, about 4 miles away. And they moved about 50 buildings to there. The rest they either razed to the ground or burned. And there's still some remnants here, so it's kind of cool to walk around and see the remnants of Old Valdez. The really cool thing about this old town tours, there's interactive map you can follow online and get some of the stories behind some of the families that lived here. And one of them was Max Wells. So he ran the Wells Commercial Company, which was considered the Sears of the area, and he sold just about everything from washing machines to kids' toys and et cetera, and he even weighed newborn babies before the hospital was here. And the nails, you know how you weigh your nails, so he'd put the newborns in there to weigh them. But there was 8 people in the family, and they lived on the second floor of the store that was right here. And during the 64 earthquake, he just yelled for everybody to run. He's picking up his kids like, you know, a sack of sugar and running, and his wife was helping grandma through the chaotic streets. And literally as they were running up that way to higher ground, the streets were opening up and fissures were opening and the water was spewing up like geysers. And Betty Wells looked behind her to see a 30-foot wave come cresting and land just behind her. The entire family escaped, but just narrowly.
Well, let's go visit the morgue. I mean the bar or the grocery store. It's down there on the pier. Well, what's left of the pier. Unfortunately, those sticks sticking up is all that's left of the pier.
All right, behind us is the terminus of the Alaska pipeline, the Trans-Alaska pipeline that starts up at Prudhoe Bay and comes all the way across the whole state down to here. So if all goes well,
we'll see the other end.
Yeah, we'll see the other end in a couple of weeks. That'll be fun. And to access this spot, we drove down Dayville Road, which is actually a nice little road. There's tons of wildlife out here and bear warning signs all over. But there's a campground over here too called Allison Campground City, and it's right here along the water. There's a couple different pullouts for that, and I'm not sure how much it is. I will go check on that, get back to you. But it's kind of a nice spot because the water's right over here and Valdez is over there, so it's kind of a nice Nice view. And they have pit toilets and garbage, so what more do you want? All right, I said I'd get back to you. It's $20 a night, first come, first serve. And we just drove to the next pull out. And then the last one back there, I mean, I wouldn't want to back up my trailer, but this one's fine. But they're kind of close together. But, you know, $20 a night is a pretty good rate. And you have a better view. I mean, this is probably the best view in Valdez, in a campground.
What is the trail? The Whispering Giants. Well, it's actually a whole bunch of artwork that Peter Toth has started back in 1971. He has completed over 70 of these giant statues throughout all 50 states in the United States, and Canada, Hungary, and some other countries. These things stand between 20 and 40 feet tall. And this is the first one that we have seen here in Alaska. So we can check this one off our list, and I guarantee you that we will be stopping in Vancouver, Washington to find the one that's there. And every state we go into, we're going to make an effort to try to find the Whispering Giant. Maybe you've got one in your hometown or state. Let us know in the comments below if you've seen these before.
Oh my God, it's beautiful out today. After about 4 or 5 solid days of rain, it's really nice right now. So we're gonna get out on a hike, and we're on the Mineral Creek trail, which is kind of a gravel road for a while, but this is known for the beautiful canyon and all the waterfalls along the way. So total, you can go about 6 miles one way. You could do a 12-mile round trip. I don't think we're quite in shape for that. We need to get back into shape for that kind of stuff. Okay, we're feeling adventurous today, and with all the rain, this is pretty gushing through here. We don't have extra shoes with us, but we're gonna take our shoes off and see how cold it is and how sharp the rocks are and go over this. But maintaining dry feet, with dry shoes I mean. Ah, that is cold. Mamma mia, Figaro! Ah! Okay, we don't feel too wimpy because there was a bunch of young people that turned back here. This is totally crossable. It's super shallow and it's not that swift right here. It's just the rocks are kind of sharp, and I don't want to walk back 1.5 miles in wet feet, wet shoes. That's kind of gross.
Pretty. You can touch those, pick those, whatever you want to do with those. These, not so much. They don't have stickers on them, but they can irritate your skin.
What are they? That's cow parsnip, and
that's right.
Those are wild geraniums. And I know this, I've been boning up because I will be a hiking guide the rest of the summer when we return from our trip.
And there's a good example one, but there's also a good example of false hellebore.
False hellebore.
Hellebore.
Hellebore. Yeah, those are really poisonous.
actually a piece of glacier, so now I can say that I've eaten the Valdez Glacier. Yum. Not that I would recommend pulling this out of dirty water, but and then eating it. But it's very refreshing.
Yeah, she's making me laugh. That's literally what she just did. I'm like, are you really gonna eat that? Look at this water. Okay, it looks really gray and silty, because it is really gray and silty, but it's just like this glacial till from the rocks as the glacier grinds it up. And then all these humps out here, this is all the terminal moraine of the Valdez Glacier. So as the glacier retreats, it leaves these big deposits out here. So and as the glacier breaks off, you get all these really cool iceberg deposits down here too. And then ice that Rhonda's
Would you like a bite?
No,
it's really
I have
good.
a bad tooth that I have to get fixed, so I think I'll just not. But it looks yummy. Danger falling rock, but we're going to continue around the
We're not
lake.
going to go close to that.
No, we're going to go through here pretty fast. There's a little sign that says danger falling rock, but we just won't dawdle. But there's like this road path around the lake here, and there's some kayakers over there.
Falling or twisting my ankle.
That would have sucked. Hey, we just discovered this trail right up here, and it looks like the kayakers might have gone and did that. Didn't realize there was a trail here, so maybe we'll go explore it a little bit. You game?
Yeah, we have bear spray.
We do. We have bear spray. A little bit of a goat trail. Well, we're going to take it a little ways and see if we can get a view of the actual glacier. Go, bear! Well, it was totally worth walking on this goat trail because the scenery is spectacular over here. But this is definitely a short but tough trail. Here's the voices down there, so we're going to go a little bit farther. But oh my God, look at that! Yeah, so we had a nice little chat with the guide. He said just go that way to where the other kayaks are, and there's a hill that goes up, and that'll give us a fabulous view of the glacier. So trees. Rhonda's right, man, you can feel the wind off the ice. It actually gets kind of cold. So we're actually glad we didn't pack raft this. So he was saying that, it's kind of easy to get turned over in here. There's so much going on if a little wind catches you. But yeah, this is a cool little tough trail, short, but just, it's really slick and ruddy and everything. This is pretty fabulous. Okay, we have a fun straight up section. This is short, but there's a rope right there if we need it. This is all worth it. Oh my God, this view is spectacular. And this is the bottom part of the glacier over here. Check this out.
Okay, I did it.
Yay!
With very little damage and most of my dignity intact. I said most.
Almost. Yeah, there's a couple of downhills there that are a little bit tricky and slick, and it's a short hike but with epic views. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad we stumbled upon this one. Hey, we're at our campground, and Valdez is known for its waterfalls. We have one right here. Well, we are so glad we actually extended our time in Valdez. Originally we were going to be here for 3 nights and we extended to 5. We're so happy we did because the weather improved and it gave us a chance to really see all the gorgeous mountains that completely surround Valdez. I've been here once before, and that was way back in high school. So the beauty of playing sports in high school up in Alaska is that anybody could be on the team because the towns are so small, and because our town of Talkeetna was remote, there was no other teams to play unless you're actually traveling. And so one of the places we traveled to was midwinter, was down here to Valdez, and then we took a ferry over to Cordova for a tournament. So yeah, really good memories. And what I remember most about coming into Valdez was just how gorgeous it was midwinter, coming through Thompson Pass and all the just hundreds of bald eagles that we saw coming down through the flats into town. So it's such a beautiful place, and I'm so glad we made it back. So I definitely recommend, if you're going to come all this way, to spend 5 days at least. I mean, originally 3 days. I knew that wasn't going to be enough. Unfortunately, we did have to cut out another part of our trip, and that was McCarthy and Kennecott Mine, because we want to make it back before the crazy holiday weekend. So yeah, my advice is just really take your time. There's so much to see up here. So if you're bringing your RV up for the summer, make sure you spend 5 to 7 days in some of the bigger places like, Homer, Valdez, Whittier, because there's so much to do in those places. We've had a few one-nighters on this trip, but our style is kind of, 5 to 7 nights is about our thing, unless there's just nothing to do in a place that we're at. But I did want to talk about this campground, which is a pretty cool place, and I'm not sure. Well, it looks like hardly anybody ever stays here. It's called the Valdez Glacier Campground. This is a city campground, and it's run by the military. Now, because of that, I'm a veteran, so I love the military, but the reservation system is a little bit wonky. There is no online reservation system. So basically you call them up, make a reservation, and then they send you a form, and then you have to send the form back in with your credit card info, and then they'll send you a confirmation. Now, online, it was really hard to tell kind of how big this campground was, and for us going into a weekend, we decided to make reservations. As it turns out, we did not need to. This has about 110 sites here, so it's a pretty huge campground. There's only about 20 sites or so that are reservable, and those are the ones that actually have power. We had so many rainy days that power was really nice, but we could have just come here and done a first come first serve, and no problem whatsoever. This campground is not full at all. For $35 a night is you get one of the electric sites, and that's if you're a civilian. If you're military or retired, you're going to be $30 a night with electric. The other sites are going to be for these first come first serve sites. These are going to be $25 if you're a civilian and $20 if you're military. They also do have some cabins that you can rent, but only if you're military, active military, or retired. There's plenty of pit toilets all around here, and they do have like regular bathrooms at the entrance and a couple of showers there. The first time I looked at the shower, they're kind of gnarly, but once they're clean, they're actually pretty decent. So yeah, every site has picnic tables and fire rings, and there's nobody here, and I don't know if that's normal. Even on the weekend, there was nobody here. I mean, there was just a handful of people. So I don't know, it's a little bit of a weird year, I think. Next year, it's hard to tell, as more people come up their RVs, if this campground is full or not. It was not even full over the weekend, which is a little bit interesting. But it's about 5 miles out of town or so. The difference here, the RV parks right in downtown Valdez are literally parking lots, and of course those have power and water and dump right at every single site, but you're also going to pay a lot of money for those sites. The beauty is if you have a Class C, you can park and walk to everything right in downtown Valdez. For us, this was a great location because we're on the same road as the Valdez Glacier Lake, and we went up there a couple times and did that awesome hike really close by. So it's a great location to kind of get around all over the place. There's lots of bear warning signs around here, so there's definitely quite a few bears in Valdez, especially later on in this month when the salmon start to run. This is a great place to go to the hatchery later on in the month when the salmon are here to watch for bears. And so there's bear warning signs all over, so make sure you keep your food secure and use all the ample garbage cans that they have here. Really good about that. And I should mention that this campground actually does have a dump station right here and a water fill that's over there behind the bathhouse. Well, today is a move day, so we are getting ready to get on out of here and head up the Richardson Highway, and we're going to head up towards Palmer today. Hopefully find a first come first serve site at a state campground, and maybe do Matanuska Glacier tomorrow. That should be really cool. Hey, you all know how much we love our coffee, so we want to thank Eleanor at Sylvan Creek Farm for buying us a coffee at Latte Da Coffee Espresso Place over there in beautiful Valdez. Eleanor, thank you so much. And if you're curious as to what this buy a coffee thing is, check out the description below.